another episode of Sit and Spin with me, your host, Joe Royland. Today we're going to kind of switch up gears a little bit and get back to a record that came out a little earlier in the year that I hadn't gotten around to talking about yet, and that is the new posthumous release from Jeff Healey, Heal My Soul. Now, back when I first started doing the show back in 2013, one of the first shows I ever did on Jeff was another posthumous release that came out of him. It was an album called House on Fire, which was a collection of alternate takes and demos that hadn't been previously released by Jeff. Heal My Soul is a little bit different. We'll get into that in a little bit different. But first, a little bit of history on Jeff Healey, if you're not familiar with him. Of course, Jeff was the blind Canadian singer, guitarist, trumpeter player. Yeah, trumpeter player. He's trumpeter, let's just say that. Who came to fame in the early 80s, late 90s. He was known primarily for his unique method of playing guitar, which we'd play it flat in his lap. And he could even do it standing up that way too, which he did later in his career. He was a huge fan of blues and jazz, particularly jazz, and even had his own jazz radio show back in Canada that he curated from his own massive collection of vintage 78 RPM gramophone records. Formed the blues rock trio Jeff Healey Band with bassist Joe Rockman and drummer Tom Stephen, and they rose to popularity on the backs of the debut album See the Light and records like Held to Pay and Feel This, and even an appearance in the Patrick Swayze vehicle Roadhouse. If you've ever seen that, they are the band in-house. And continued making great music throughout the rest of his life, which unfortunately ended in 2008 when he passed away from cancer. I actually got to meet Jeff a couple of times, was a super great guy as well as amazing musician. And you can go back to that original episode, which I think was either 3 or 5. It's titled Oh Canada. And you can relate to one of the stories of the first time I met Jeff Healey. It was pretty funny. But back in the late 90s, between 1996 and 1998, Healey started demoing, recording, and writing nearly 30 or 40 tracks in his own home recording studio. And he was experimenting with some different sounds and spreading his wings out a bit. And some of this material made it onto his final blues rock oriented record called Get Me Some in 2000. And after that, though, he began to grow a bit disillusioned and wary of the business end of music, and he got kind of tired of his dancing for the man, as you might say, and pulled back a little from rock and stuff and trying to have hit records, and basically just continued on the touring end, music focused more on blues, and more particularly even towards the later part of his career, jazz. He went back to his roots and trumpet, which was one of his first instruments, and started playing that again in like traditional jazz records that he released. But talking about this record, Heal My Soul, the best of the rest of songs that were still sitting around in the vault ended up getting released and were handpicked for this little record, Heal My Soul. This album is overseen by Roger Costa of Healey's estate, and many of the songs that they pulled from, they kind of dig into a little bit of deeper reservoir of Jeff's soul and offer up like a more direct connection with the listener. And they spent a great deal of time researching the songs, restoring them, mixing them, mastering them, transferring the tapes and stuff to get the best possible release that they could, and it really shows on this record. One of the really cool decisions that they made about this, though, was that they decided to strip away any of the sound and production techniques that dated the record to a specific time. I'm going to get to a little bit more on that in a minute. And instead, they decided to just let the performances shine through a little bit more honestly in their own rawness, which was great. A lot of good stuff on this record. The first track you just heard there, hold on. That's my Jeff Healey. Days of the New is the only track that is duplicated between that and the House of Fire demos. But as I said earlier, it's completely different. Like the version on House on Fire sounds like it came from the early 90s when it was recorded. It's, you know, very glossed up, reverb drenched production and stuff. Whereas this one's a little bit more in your face and raw, and it's great. And if you dig that hard rock and blues rock sound, you're gonna love tracks like this one, The Scorcher Mood Swings, which follows it. As well as track Please, which was co-written by another one of my favorite guitar players, Stevie Solays, and tracks like the funky Put the Shoe on the Other Foot. There's some other great mid-tempo rock songs like I Misunderstood, Kiss the Ground You Walk On, and it's the last time they kind of hold closer to the more rock sound and commerciality of Jeff's career. But probably my favorite tracks on this album are two of the ballads that are on it. The first one, Baby Blue, which could easily have been a hit back in the day for him. Probably wouldn't be now because of the state of the way the music business is, but it deserves to be. It's a really great tune. But even more than that, I absolutely adore the sparse, acoustic-driven All the Saints, which is just achingly beautiful. It's just Jeff on lead vocals, also accompanying himself on harmony vocals against 2 killer acoustic guitar tracks that he played together on. And it's just some really sweet playing, and they consider filling it out with like big drums and bass and everything out, making it like more of a power ballad, but they decided no, we'll just put some subtle bass and keyboards in there to kind of, you know, fill it out a little bit more and release it the way it is, and it's just absolutely great. If there were ever a fitting epitaph to his career, just something nice for him to go on, and it's just such a great song. But otherwise, the rest of the record is filled with equally good stuff. If you are a fan of Jeff Healey, you definitely want to go out and pick this record up. Even if you don't know Jeff, you're not familiar with his music, good starting place, and then go back and work your way back from there. If you just like good blues rock guitar, if you like people like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Joe Bonamassa and things like that, definitely a record you want to pick it up. It's out on the Provogue label, which is Provogue label, I should say, which is Joe Bonamassa's latest record's out on that as well. But great stuff. A nice fitting capper to Jeff's career. Don't know if there's going to be any more coming out. It's possible, maybe more live recordings, but I think this one's pretty much going to round up the studio stuff that he still had lying around. But really nice collection of music. Jeff Healey's Heal My Soul, the album takes its nice play on words, Healey, Heal My Soul, and the album takes its name from the track you're hearing right now, Mood Swings. But that is the show for this week. We'll catch you next time on Sit and Spin. Hope you enjoyed Malcolm's presence on the show last week. Don't know if he'll be around again. We'll see. Kind of distracting, that young man, and very busy. Keeps me busy, but it's nice having him here for a change. But catch you next time on Sit and Spin. We'll see you then. Take it easy.